It's 5:30, and I welcome everybody to the chambers tonight. This is the Saugeen Shores Committee of Adjustment for Monday, July the 15th, and I now call this meeting to order. Our second item on the agenda is any acknowledgement of pecuniary interest. You can raise it now or at the time it arrives on the agenda. And next item is the adoption of minutes. May I have a motion? I know. Is there? Oh dear. Oh yeah. Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Mr. Reid, dated today, July the 15th, 2019, that we adopt the minutes of the June 17 meeting as circulated. All in favor? That is carried, of course. Thank you. Our next item is additional business, and this is the application 4.1. This is a minor variance A-34-19.44. Nick Getz, and this is the municipal address of the former Saugeen Township of 154 Concession 10.
Chairman?
Yes.
I have to recuse myself from this particular item. Last time.
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to advise committee that the deferral from last month was to for the applicant to enter into an agreement with the town to construct a single detached dwelling. There is terms of a landowner agreement rather that we use for other town business. It shows that Mr. Getz is the owner, is proposing to apply for a building permit no later than August 31st. He's agrees to provide securities in the amount of $10,000, and that was the agreement as in respect of addressing the deferral from the committee.
I would like to move a motion. I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Matheson and seconded by Councillor Rich, dated today, July the 15th, 2019. For the following, that minor variance application A-34-19.44 be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1. That any future development on the property conforms to the provisions of the zoning bylaw. And 2. That the decision applies only to the proposed development as indicated on Schedule A, attached to the decision sheet and forming part of this decision. 3. That a home industry, identified as a contractor's yard, be permitted in the absence of a dwelling on the property. 4. That a gross floor area of 560 square meters be permitted to be utilized by the home industry. 5. That a home industry shall be permitted that is not clearly accessory to a residential use on the lot. And 6. That the owner entering into an agreement with the town with securities requiring the construction of a dwelling on the property to be occupied by the owner of the home industry. Any discussion? Councillor Grace.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will not be supporting this motion according to the way it's written in the conditions. I believe that the variance from the zoning bylaw as it's written are too extreme. For instance, section 3.11 D and E of the zoning bylaw talk about two things where there's, in my opinion, a significant difference. One, that the total gross floor area of 560 square meters be permitted for the home industry instead of 100 square meters as is written in the zoning bylaw. And the second, which is Part E, says that the home industry not be clearly accessory. The Part E of the zoning bylaw says that the home industry be clearly accessory to the residential use. And the condition that would be granted here is that the home industry not be clearly accessory to the residential use. And I believe that it's important for us to maintain the standards of home industries as they are expressed and laid out in the zoning bylaw. And so that's why I will not be supporting the motion. Thank you.
Other comments? All in favor? Question? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is public hearings 5.1. This is a minor variance application A-35-19.48. This is Denise Hogan, 70 Beach Road in the former town of Southampton. Ms. Fortier.
Oh, okay, it's already over
So this is an application for a minor variance at 70 Beach Road in Southampton. So you can go to the next slide. So you can see the property on the aerial there. That's the house that was constructed a few years ago. It's visible on the aerial photograph. And the surrounding uses are residential. Largely across the street there is a trailer or mobile home park that's owned by the town. So that's directly across the road in that green zoned area there, the open space. So it's largely residential in nature. Beach Road is a municipal road, so it has access on a year-round municipal road and municipal water and sewer. So the application is to permit a reduced lot size on the severed parcel. So you can see the lot there. So part one on this plan that you see there, that was a road widening that was taken a few years ago from the lot. So part two is what we're looking at for this this severance, as that is what the lot is today. And so the existing dwelling, the lot size would be about 510 square meters, so it would meet the required lot size, but the proposed severed lot would be slightly undersized at 450 square meters. The setbacks from the existing dwelling would be maintained, so there would be a slight encroachment from the chimney, so that's that little jut out that you kind of see in the middle of the house, but encroachments are permitted for features such as chimneys, so that would still maintain a 1 meter minimum distance from the new lot line, and the main wall of the dwelling would meet the 1.2 as required. And so it's really just the lot size we're looking at. So in this case, in terms of the policies, the residential use is permitted as it is zoned residential. This property is within the special policy area 2 of the official plan, which recognizes the low-density, low-rise residential character of this area of Southampton, and the implementing bylaw restricts the height of any new buildings in order to ensure compatibility. So there's no real issues from the special policy area for this proposal, as any construction would need to comply with that. In terms of the zoning bylaw, the property is zoned residential first density special R11, which in the special provision just implements Special Policy 2, which limits the height to 8 meters in this area. So despite the reduction, I believe the property is generally in line with the surrounding lot fabric. So there are a number of slightly smaller lots in this area, Southampton. So even on this block, there are lots that would be of a similar size. And it's still an appropriate or an adequate size to accommodate a dwelling and meet the required setbacks. In terms of the agency comments, town staff noted the standard consent conditions, which are to seek 5% cash in lieu of parkland and require the installation of services. There is also comments from the SVCA, which confirm that it is not subject to any hazards and that there aren't any significant impacts on natural heritage features, so they did not recommend the preparation of an EIS. We have not received any public comments in regards to this proposal. So just in terms of the 4 tests, I believe that this does meet the intent and purpose of the official plan. It is residential in nature, and it meets the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. At 450 square meters, it's still generally in line with the lot fabric of the area and is of adequate size to support a dwelling. In terms of the 3rd test, is it appropriate and desirable? I believe that it is. It will allow for the creation of a new vacant infill lot. This area isn't required for the use of the dwelling at 70 Beach Road, and the minor variance will allow for greater use of the lands and allow for a new potential dwelling to be constructed on a vacant lot. And is the variance minor? I believe that it is. I don't expect that permitting the variance will have any impact on the character of the area or on the ability of adjacent property owners to use their properties for permitted uses. So I do recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Fortier. Is the applicant present? Yes. Is there anything you wish to address the committee? Is there anything you wish to say to the committee? Okay. Okay.
My purpose in doing this is I'm
Of course. Thank you. Okay. Sir, do you wish to address? No? Okay. Thank you. Committee, any questions? Thank you. I have a motion moved by Ms. Kuntz, seconded by Councillor Gray, stated today, July the 15th, 2019, that minor variance application A-35-19.48 be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, that any future development on the property conforms to the provisions of the zoning bylaw, and that the decision applies only to the proposed development as indicated on Schedule A attached to the decision sheet and forming part of this decision. And 3, that the minimum lot area be no less than 450 square meters. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Yeah, there'll be, before we go, we have to sign the decision sheet. I have a motion moved by Ms. Kuntz, seconded by Mr. Reed, dated today, July the 15th, 2019, that we do now adjourn to meet again at the call of the Secretary Treasurer. All in favor? Yes. Cable, yeah. Councillor Grace. Okay, okay. Yeah, so we'll know, as it stands right now, the date will be August the 19th unless okay. Motion moved by Ms. Kuntz, seconded by Mr. Reed, that we now do adjourn to meet again at the call of the Secretary Treasurer. All in favor? Yeah. No, it wasn't, sir. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, everybody.